Q&A 2023. Hello there and welcome to another Q&A. Let's get on with it. I'll go straight to my channel, to my latest video and see what questions you've got for me. Okay, first question is from Mark McCambridge, who says, would you consider doing a collection video showing all of the Big Finish audios you own? Well, that would be a very short video since I have about two on CD anyway. I have the early 2000s. I sent literally like 2002 or something. I sent off for Sirens of Time and Phantasmagoria, and I thought they were okay, but they were really expensive at the time, what with the exchange rate, and it cost $25 to even do a bank check. I mean, I don't know if PayPal was around in 2002, but I didn't have it, so it was like, yeah, this is way too expensive, given that I was only kind of middling on it anyway. Now, in the mid 2010s, I bought a bunch on download. Some of them I liked, some of them I didn't. But honestly, I'm not really big on Big Finish. I'm not big on audio drama. I'm a visual person, and it doesn't do it for me. It just doesn't do it for me. So that would be a very short video. Now, I would actually like to do a collection video showing you know, my Doctor Who DVD and Blu-ray collection, as well as like my movie collection and other TV collection. I'd love to do a video showing you my sitting room / media room, which I've nearly finished decorating after a move, because it looks great. I mean, I've gone for a totally different look from my old house with framed posters and that, and it looks really, really lovely. I would love to show you it, but I don't have a video camera. I don't even have a mobile phone, because I don't do mobile phones. I'm not sure how to do so. I actually did buy a digital video recorder off eBay the other month. It was like $40, and it was a complete waste of freaking money because it was rubbish. Even though it was, you know, it's sent from Australia, the instructions were in Chinese. I could not make head nor tails of it, and I mean, I even just tried without anything else. I tried, you know, connecting it to the computer via USB, and the computer didn't even register it. So I'm not sure how you would transfer anything that you did record if I could manage to get it recorded. So I'm not paying out more for something that not necessarily gonna work. I might have to, I don't know, have a look at JB or something. Now, I could get a webcam, something as simple as that, because they're relatively inexpensive, but the problem with that is that they're not portable, are they? And my webcam would be with my computer, and my computer's in my office, not my sitting room, and there's not very much in my office. There's a few media related books, and there's a few old posters that are not framed. They were in my sitting room back in my old house, and I couldn't really frame them because they're all kind of the wrong size for frames, and you'd have to get custom frames, and that costs a ridiculous amount of money. It's cost enough just getting standard sized poster frames. I couldn't afford that, and some of them are getting a bit tatty anyway, so I've just made my office kind of like the down and dirty room for that sort of thing. But there's nothing else in the office apart from that. There's none of my collection or anything. So a webcam wouldn't really be much use to show you that. So, sorry. He also says, have you read any Doctor Who comics, like the Doctor Who magazine comics or anything from Titan Comics? Again, I'm sorry, this is going to be a very boring answer. I'm not a comic guy. I'm just not. I mean, I think I read like the comics, the Return of the Jedi comics back in the Return of the Jedi magazine back in the early 80s when I was a kid. But and I may have read some of the Doctor Who magazine ones in the late 80s when I first started buying that, but no, I'm not a comics guy. Sorry. Next question is from Graham Mackay, who asks, what's your best favourite top 5 movies you have seen so far? Okay. That's a difficult one. I think top 4's fairly easy. The 5th one's probably a little bit difficult. Like top 4, not necessarily in preferential order, just 4 absolute classics that I absolutely love. The original Black Christmas, probably my favourite horror movie of all time. The original Halloween, very close up there. Show Me Love, the 1998 Swedish movie that basically kick-started this channel, actually, because I saw that film in the early 2000s. I loved it. I saw it again a couple of years later. I loved it. Then it took about 5 years to see it again. I think I may have been waiting for the DVD because all I had was a pirate version from the VHS that I'd rented from the video shop. Who said that? So I think I was waiting for the DVD, and I saw it again like 5 years later in early 2008, and again I fell in love with it. And that's when I started doing YouTube videos. So if it wasn't for that movie, I might not even be here. Whether that's a good thing or bad thing is up to you. Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, obviously. Absolute classic. Love it. 5th one, I don't know. I mean, there's quite a lot. You know, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think just for sheer kind of childhood nostalgia, iconography, Christmassy, I think it would probably have to be Gremlins. I love Gremlins. You know, that and Ghostbusters together, they really just, yeah, mid-80s childhood Christmas, happy feelings. Okay, 2 questions from Doug's Film and TV. Question 1. Would you review Torchwood and the Sarah Jane Adventures? Oh dear. Probably not. All I've seen of Torchwood is like the first 5 episodes of season 1. I remember I ordered season 1 on DVD, the first half, at around the same time that I ordered the first like standalone thing of series 2 of New Who, because at that point Australia was like 6 months behind or something ridiculous like that. And I went in completely expecting it to be good, and I thought it was awful. I thought it was absolutely awful. To be fair, the Fairies one, written by PJ Hammond, who did Sapphire and Steel, of course, that was quite good story-wise, but I thought it was generally awful, and the cast and characters were generally awful. So no, probably not. Sarah Jane Adventures, I've only seen the first 2 seasons. I kind of lost interest during the second season. I mean, it was a bit too kiddie for me anyway. It was okay. It was a bit too kiddie. But to me, I really kind of lost interest in season 2 when they wrote Maria out, because she was like the audience she was like the audience identification vantage point figure. The whole of season 1 was basically seen through her eyes. So you suddenly get to season 2 and she's out the fucking door on the first story, and it's like, what? I mean, I think I stuck around till the end of season 2 basically to see the brig, which was nice, but I wasn't really impressed, really. I mean, I haven't even seen season 1 again since. It's not like I'm a particular fan. But yeah, I really kind of lost interest after season 2. Sorry. Question 2. Would you also review the Marvel and Arrowverse show? Oh God, this is not going well, is it? Again, I don't think so. The Marvel shows, I don't have access to them. The only streaming site I have at the moment is Netflix, which is hanging by a thread. And honestly, I have basically the cheapest smart TV I could get, and I can actually only get, if I wanted, two streaming sites. I can get Netflix, not counting YouTube. I can get Netflix, and I can get Stan, which is an Australian one. And I ditched Stan after a couple of months, especially once they'd lost Buffy. Being able to see Buffy in HD was one of the few things that appealed to me on that site, and they lost that. I think Disney's got it now, which I can't even get. There was nothing on it, so I'm like, So I don't have access to any of the Marvel shows. And honestly, I'm not that interested anyway. I'm not a big Marvel guy. Couple of the movies are okay, you know. I liked Robert Downey Jr. He's gone now. Couple of the later Avenger movies was okay, but I don't really generally care that much. And the Arrowverse shows, all I've seen of them is like the first couple of episodes of Arrow and half the first episode of The Flash. I thought both were thoroughly mediocre and really not my cup of tea. Sorry. Okay, we have 4 questions from Fadi Kuri. I hope I'm saying that right. Apologies if I'm not. First question: who is your favourite Doctor Who guest stars from each Doctor? Oh wow. I don't know. I guess first Doctor. I guess Peter Butterworth. You know, the meddling monk. He's a hoot. We should have. It's a shame we never got to see more of him, really, because he was a really fun character. Second Doctor. I mean, I guess you'd have to say the Brig, wouldn't you? Really, you know, you can't say him later on, I guess, but certainly when he was just first introduced in like Web and Invasion before he became a mainstay. You'd have to say the Brigadier. Pertwee. I don't know. I'm struggling here. I guess Lynx in the Time Warrior, and Irongron because he's hilarious. For Tom, I mean, Tom's got an embarrassment of riches, hasn't he, in terms of guest stars? I mean, you know, Jago and Lightfoot, Unstuff, and Garon particularly in Ribos Operation, Professor Chronotis in Shardar, Count Scarlione, Duggan in City of Death. I mean, they're all wonderful characters. Peter Davison, I don't know really. I guess like Jane and Will from The Awakening, possibly. For Colin, I think you'd have to definitely say half the supporting characters in Attack of the Cybermen, like Lytton. I mean, Lytton's okay in Resurrection, but to me he's much better and much cooler in Attack of the Cybermen. And Griffiths is great. Brian Glover is brilliant. For Sylvester, I don't know. Sylvester, I guess. What's his face? The professor in Curse of Fenric. Dinsdale Landon, the actor. I can't quite remember his name. Oh dear. As for New Who, I don't know. I mean, they don't really have many guest parts in New Who because the stories are so short. Yeah, even if they get a name actor, half the time they've got like 2 scenes and then that's it. I guess the only exceptions would be in a couple of Moffat episodes. Obviously, there's Carey Mulligan from Blink, but I mean, she's basically the star of that episode because Tennant's hardly in it. And Canton from Impossible Astronaut, what's his name? Mark Sheppard. I really think they missed a trick there, honestly. I really think they should have brought him back on a recurring basis. I thought he was a great character. And he was a really good actor with a lot of presence. He could have become like a 60s US version of the Brig. I honestly don't know why they didn't. I really think they missed a trick there, but that's just my opinion. Unfortunately, I don't run this show. Okay, second question. If you were to write a story for Matt Smith, what would it be about? I have absolutely no idea. I don't know. I mean, it would have to have Amy in it. You'd have to have Karen Gillan there, obviously. I don't, I don't know. Maybe we could have a sequel to Time. You know, that comic relief thing. Maybe we could have a sequel to Time where Amy gets to be friendly with herself. I'd watch that. Okay, never mind. Third question. Which actor in Wicked Science would suit being in Doctor Who? Oh, you're just throwing me a bone here, aren't you? You're just setting me up. You know who I'm going to say here. Obviously, I'm going to say Bridget Novell. Quite obviously. I mean, I've said before. Not only would she make a great companion, but she'd have made a great Romana. You know, I'm thinking of particularly of that character, because when I think of Romana and I think of Mary Tam and Lalla Ward, there are some actresses that you can see being another version of that, having that mixture of kind of intellect, slightly arch superiority, but still having a warmth to them. There are a number of actors that actresses that I can see doing that, like Natalie Dormer, and Bridget Novell absolutely falls into that category. I mean, yeah, I mean, particularly, you know, when you look at her in Wicked Science as Elizabeth, especially in season 2, when she's not quite as batshit crazy as she is for a lot of season 1, when she's kind of settled down a bit more and she's just sort of eccentric and weird and intelligent, still a little bit arch. But I mean, the actress is obviously very capable of, you know, being warm and lovely as well, as you can see from her in Neighbours. So yeah, I think she'd have made a wonderful Romana. But again, it's never going to happen because I don't run this show, sadly. It would be so much better if I did. 4. Do you have any chance have a favourite Enya song? I mean, I'm not massively familiar. I know some of her songs. I like them. I mean, there's that Only Time. I think I did a music video for that. Is Wild Child Enya? Because I've used that song and I like it. Yes, it is. Wild Child, Enya. Yeah, probably Wild Child. I like that song. I have to be honest, somebody else kind of did a similar themed fan video with that song, with a similar theme about, I don't know, late 2000s or something like that. You know, basically like a tribute to female characters. And I was inspired to do my own version a decade or so later with some of my favourite female characters. You can search my channel for that song. It's in my 2020 music playlist. One of my favourite videos, actually. So yeah, I think I'd probably say Wild Child. Yeah. Okay. Time for Teletubbies says, will you watch Doctor Who when Russell T Davies comes back, or is all hope lost when Jodie was cast? Oh dear, the big question. I honestly don't know. It's not looking good. I'm veering more on the negative, but I don't know. I'm just, honestly, I'm really, really burned out on Doctor Who at the moment. I mean, I'm even burned out on the whole thing. I mean, I've barely watched any this year. I've watched 2. I've watched Nightmare of Eden and Crimson Horror, and that's it. I'm not really in the mood, and a large part of that, I mean, some of that is on how many, down to how many times I've seen most of Classic Who. But yeah, I can't deny a large part of that is just how bad and how much of an embarrassment the whole thing is now. And I mean, Russell T Davies is coming back. He's going to fix everything, but we're still apparently getting comic book releases promoting Joe Martin as the real First Doctor or something. This does not inspire confidence that this garbage is going to be thrown out into the dustbin where it belongs, does it? I mean, and I mean, apparently, I mean, I'll give them this, it's not at least coming from the production team, unlike was the case when Jodie was cast, but I'm already hearing about some fans who've expressed reservations about the new Doctor instantly being hit with the racist card. Oh, you're just racist, just like 5 years ago when anybody dared to question that casting. Oh, you're an instant sexist, etc., etc. Now, again, granted, that doesn't seem to be coming from the production team like it did in 2017. It's just coming from the usual internet morons, but it's still not good, is it? It's not a good look, you know. And so far, I'm not very impressed. I know fans are losing their shit over Tennant and Tate coming back. Again, I'm not a fan. I don't like Series 4. I didn't like that pairing. The thought of going back to 2008 does not fill me with joy. It just makes me roll my eyes. Look, I'll watch the trailers, and you know, I'll see what other fans have to say. Fans who are equally jaded as me, probably. And if the trailer looks moderately competent and the reviews look moderately competent, I might give the first episode a look. But again, it's not looking good, and it's like fandom has been abused for 5 years now. Doctor Who has been abused. The show's canon has been abused and spat on. And I'm not seeing much indication they're going to roll that back. They may not mention it, but it doesn't sound like they're going to roll it back. So that means we're expected to put up with that crap as being part of the canon. And I'm sorry, but no. Sorry. Balls. He also asks, do you read the plots of the episodes from the Jodie? No. I mean, I've heard stuff from other fans on forums and that, but no, I don't. No. Do you just stay away from the show? Now, yeah, basically, I'm sorry. Yeah. Like I said, 5 years ago, I knew it was going to be a disaster. I knew it was. I knew it was being done for all the wrong reasons. I was surprised by how much of a disaster it was. I was surprised by how openly in your face offensive the actual people in running the thing were. You'd think they'd have at least kind of put up a show of, no, it's not being done for this reason, honest. But no, they were in your face from the first episode. And I mean, even then, I watched like the first 5 minutes or so of The Woman Who Fell to Earth, even though I'd pretty much decided I was cutting the cord. But I caved. I watched the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It was very boring. And then Jodie turned up and I couldn't stand more than a minute of her. It was just absolutely fucking cringeworthy. And from what I've seen, granted it's not much, but from what I've seen, her performance has not altered in the slightest in 5 years. I'm sorry, I know this will cause some people butthurt, but no, I'm sorry. At the moment, I am not interested. We'll have to wait and see whether that changes. I mean, it's a shame, for a show that I've loved since 1986. But at the moment, the whole thing is just really, really toxic. And it doesn't interest me very much. Okay, final question by the look of it. From Sally Wagenblatt. What are your thoughts on Neighbours coming to an end and Jason Donovan and Kylie Minogue returning for the last episode? Oh dear, this would get me into trouble as well. As to Neighbours coming to an end, part of me thinks, well, it's about time. Part of me thinks it's at least 17 years overdue. Look, I'm almost as jaded, if not more jaded, of a Neighbours fan as I am a Who fan at this point. I liked it in the 80s. I loved it in the early 90s. It jumped the shark for me and I stopped watching it in 93. They managed to draw me back against my better judgment in 2004. And this is something else that worries me about giving Doctor Who another chance, because I have only ever once gone back to a show that I've walked away from thinking it's jumped the fucking shark and I don't like it anymore and I'm not watching it anymore. I've only once ever done that, and that was Neighbours in 2004. And then the following season, they basically just threw away and shit on everything that had drawn me back in the first place. And made me feel like a complete schmuck for being drawn back in at all. Because it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether it's just because of the amount of content they have to put out on that show. 5 days a week, 48 weeks of the year or something. It's almost like it's accidental when they make it good. It's almost like they're pumping this stuff out at such a rate that they have no time to really consider anything. And it's almost like they accidentally made it good in 2004, but they didn't even realize what they had, so they basically just immediately threw it all in the dumpster the following season, and it went back to being unwatchable crap again. I'm sorry. I'm still bitter. I'm still freaking bitter. And yeah, okay, I tuned in for 3 episodes in 2020. We all know why. But beyond that, I had no interest in being sucked in again. Because no. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And as for for Jason and Kylie coming back, I don't care. I don't care. I'm sorry. Scott and Charlene were annoying. At the time, in the 80s when the show was at its peak and it was all Scott and Charlene, they were like the weakest characters in it. As a kid, I was way more interested in the other characters, in the adult characters, than I was in them, because they were much better characters and actors. They just annoyed me then. And what's really kind of annoyed me to the point of it almost being at the point where I actually fucking hate them is not really down to them, or certainly not down to the actors, but the way that they have been venerated and basically held up as just this untouchable couple for 30 odd years. Meanwhile, this show can basically crap on every other fucking couple that they do. They will literally retcon things. They will split couples up 10, 20 years after they got a happy ending, after they left the show, for no reason. I mean, it's not like there's even any kind of reason for them doing this. Like, I can understand it, like when they brought Stephen Dennis back in 2005 as Paul. I can understand why they split him and Christina up, because she wasn't going to come back. So it's either recast or just split them up. And given Paul's track record with women, you can totally believe that would have split up. But they'll do it to characters who aren't even in the show anymore, like Joe and Mel. Recently I think they did it to Adam and Gemma in the last couple of years for absolutely no fucking reason. And it drives me crazy. It's like, why would you bother watching this show? I don't understand why people still watch this show, honestly, because it has no respect for its characters, or its history, or its audience. I don't understand why you would watch a show where, it's not an action show, it's not a horror show, it's not a sci-fi show. It's a soap opera. There's really only one reason to watch a soap opera, and that's because you invest in the characters and you invest in the relationships. But when these characters and relationships are treated like absolute crap, why would you continue to watch? I mean, this is why I stopped watching that show twice, because they just crapped all over characters that I loved. And it just pisses me off beyond all reason. They can just wreck every other fucking coupling ever But oh no, Scott and Charlene are just untouchable. Oh, fuck off. There were way better fucking characters and couples in that show than those two over fucking rated. Sorry. I'm ranting again. That show still pisses me off. As much as I love bits of it, that show just pisses me off in so many ways. It's why I'm not crying into my soup that it's been axed. That, and that I haven't actually watched it since, apart from 3 episodes, since 2006. Okay, that seems to be the last question, and I'm kind of losing my voice here a little, so that's probably just as well. So that's the Q&A. I mean, maybe I'll do another one at some point this year. Maybe we'll make it like several times a year instead of just once a year, because it adds a bit of something different, doesn't it? It adds a bit more interaction between me and you guys, and it also generates content, doesn't it? You guys are coming up with the content ideas instead of me. Anyway, thanks for the questions. I hope you enjoyed listening to me rambling incoherently and occasionally ranting, and I'll talk to you again soon.